Hello,
Hi.
my name is Weiwei, and I have Will joining
Hi.
today. We're here to teach you all Chinese, and I'm also here to teach him Chinese. And hopefully, by having Will joining us, he'll be able to help me to slow down and ask questions that I may be overlooking right now. And so, as well, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments. We are currently looking at the comments section, and so if you have any questions, we'll definitely answer them. If you have any topics specifically you want us to cover, we will do our best to cover them as well. We're planning to be online for the next hour or so we'll try to do our best. And to begin with, this is sort of like a vocal warm up. We always try to start with pinging, which is how you mark the Chinese language in alphabets. And so this
In
is
like Latin letters.
Latin letters. And by going through this, it will help us over time to get better and better at pronouncing Chinese characters. We sort of want this to be a routine so that over time will get better at pronouncing it. And so if you don't feel like you are getting it fully, don't stress about it because this is something that will take time. It's a lot of sound that you may not be familiar with. So don't worry or don't stress about it if you can't get it right today. And just remember that as long as you practice and if you replay this video, you'll be able to learn and get it over time. And we've got one comment right now. Hello, Malik. Welcome to the stream. So yeah, let's start and go through the pinging. On the left over here, we have the prefix, and on the right here, we have the suffix. So together combined, these are all of the sounds you can pronounce in Chinese. For example, B here is pronounced ba, and A here is pronounced ah, and together B and A, if you combine them, it's ba. And yeah, let's go through them one by one. Let's go through the prefix first, and then we'll go through the suffix, and I'll go into a bit more detail soon. Ba,
Ba,
pa,
pa,
ma,
ma,
fa,
fa,
da,
da,
ta,
ta,
na,
na,
la,
la,
zi,
zi,
ci,
ci,
si,
ci,
zhi,
zhi,
chi,
chi,
shi,
shi,
ji,
ji,
qi,
qi,
xi,
xi,
gu,
gu,
ke,
ke,
he,
he,
yi,
yi,
wu.
wu.
Cool. So these are all of the prefix that you can pronounce. We just went through them once. We'll go through them again and combine them with other suffix soon. Let's do the suffix for now. A, I, an,
Ang,
ow.
ow,
Notice here, an and only are very similar. There's a G at the end, and over here, G sort of add a deeper like to the end of the sound, and they're actually quite similar, and you'll see them repeating again and again. Don't worry about it if you can't get it right now. Just practice over time, and you'll be able to get it. And if you're worried about not pronouncing it perfectly, then people will still be able to understand you. So the key is to just be courageous and keep on saying it out loud. O,
o,
ong,
ong,
o,
o,
a,
a,
un,
an,
ung,
er,
e, ya,
ya,
yan,
yan,
yang,
yang,
yao.
yao.
Over here you can see with these ones, it's actually just using all of these ones that we've been pronouncing. So for example, e, a, ya, e, ang, ya, yan, e, ang, yang, Yao, Yao. We've got a few questions right now. We're gonna go through the pinging first, and then we'll get to the questions. If you're watching this in an environment where you can say it out loud, please do say it out loud with us because that helps you to learn. That helps your brain a ton. Yeah,
Yeah.
in,
In.
in,
Ing.
yo,
Yo.
yong,
Yong.
u,
U.
wa,
Wa.
y,
Y.
wan,
Wan.
wang,
Wang.
wei,
Wei.
wen,
Wen.
wang,
Wang.
wo,
Wo.
wu,
Wu.
yue,
Yue.
yuan,
Yuan.
yun,
Yun.
yu.
Yu.
Yeah. This one is slightly odd.
It's tricky.
Yeah, you can see
It
it
is
has
tricky.
two dots on it. Sometimes when you're typing on the computer, instead of typing U, you actually type V. So for example, there's in Chinese the color green is 绿, and it is spelled like this, 绿. But when you're typing in Pinyin on a computer, it's LV. This is just a side note. Cool. All right, so these bottom ones are maybe a bit hard to pronounce. Just try to sort of break them down a little bit. For example, u, an, one, one.
And kind of combine them.
U,
When.
I, y.
U. I. Y.
Yeah. Y.
Y.
Yeah. U, an, one.
U. An. Wan.
Yeah, and Malik is saying that the pronunciation can be the same, but meaning can be very different. So in Chinese, for example, you can have a word being like, for example, ba, which is father. The pinyin is ba, but ba can also stand for different characters. So for example, ba, which is number 8, it actually is also spelled ba, and so, or there's also ba, that's also ba. So there are a lot of characters that sound the same and they have the same pinyin, but they're a different character, and a different character can mean a different meaning. This can get confusing, but just know that as you practice more and as you use them in context in an environment, then it can you'll become more familiar with them over time.
So it seems like elements of when you see it in Pinyin, or even when you hear it, it's times be highly contextual.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. And so with a lot of these, you can actually combine them, and that makes different sound. For example, for X over here, that's she.
She.
And when you put it in front of this, it's xing.
Xing.
Sorry, that's xing. It doesn't have that deep.
The one to the right would
yeah.
be Xing.
This is xing, and this is xie.
Xie. Oh, like xie.
Xie. Thank you. Yeah. And then this one actually doesn't exist. Xiu. So we're going to skip that.
So everything on the left doesn't always have
they don't always match
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this one is xiong.
Xiong.
And you can, the way, if it gets a little complicated, you can break it up. Xi yi ong xiong.
Xi yi ong xiong.
Yeah. And if we have H, which is he, well, that's very squiggly. Then you can combine them again, like HU is hu. HUA is hua.
Hua.
Which is hua, hua.
Hua. Hua.
Yeah. And Huai, Huai.
Huai.
Huai, Huai.
Huai. Huai.
Yeah. And Huan, Huan, Huan.
Huan.
Huang, Huang.
Huang. Huang. Huang.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, question.
Cool. Molly, we'll get to those questions after we go through this.
Oh, Nest TV. Oh, the feed? That's great.
Yeah.
Our internet got upgraded, finally.
Yes. So if you're joining us for the first time, for the last few videos, the video quality wasn't as good. And so every few seconds we'll like lag and cut out for a bit. And sorry about that. It was a bit painful, but we were able to figure out the internet thing, and we now have a slightly better internet. And so hopefully that doesn't happen again.
All right, so questions?
Yeah. So we're going to start with a new sheet. Malik is asking, is there a way to differentiate between a rat and a mouse? A mouse is 老鼠. Lao Shu.
Lao Shu.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use translate to find out what a rat is. It seems like it's also using the same character, shu. Let's.
It's interesting because they can be such different creatures. Like rats, I feel like, or at least for me, are much more intimidating than mice.
I'm pretty confident there is a word for it, but it might be a bit more sort of like professional.
And like used in like a almost scientific context or that type of thing, where it's like a.
Because I think it has to do with sort of like, if you're living in China, how often do you encounter this animal? Like I feel like
But if you're in the city, you might just use the same word for both.
Yeah, because you don't like maybe because of where China is, like the rats are not as common. People don't normally interact with it, so they're all the same. It seems to be the same word.
I was hoping it would secretly just be like big mouse, little mouse, or something like that. But what about like rodent or something? Like the scientific-y word for it.
Let me see. I found
Sorry.
one.
I don't think I'll switch words. Oh no, it's just been so weird.
Okay, it seems like this one is rat.
What is that?
耗子.
Haozu.
Yeah.
Haozu.
It is definitely not
耗子.
common. That's 3 strokes.
On the left.
Yeah. 耗子. And so if you want to describe a big mouse, like a big one, then you can add the word 大 in front of it. Yes. So 大 is big.
Da.
Yeah.
So you could say like da lao shu.
大老鼠.
Shu. Da lao shu.
Yeah.
Or xiao.
小老鼠.
Xiao. Xiao.
小.
Xiao.
Yeah, you
lao
got it.
shu.
So it's xiao 小.
Xiao. Xiao.
And the same can go with a big rat or a small rat, which is 大耗子
Hmm.
小耗子
So this is kind of similar to the context part you were saying earlier, where it might not matter, and like if you're in an area that's more prone to seeing rats and mice, there's probably a more clear distinction, and you could use big or small. But in general, it's probably similar enough where you might just see rats as kind of a standalone thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hello, Manish, and hello, Fasai. If I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, let me know if I can pronounce it better. Welcome to the stream. We can definitely help you with learning Chinese. So let us know if you have any questions, and let us know if you want us to focus on speaking or listening.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, 耗子 is definitely not common. Sometimes in Chinese, the word rat or a mouse can also be used to describe a person in a like
a negative way?
In a slightly negative way, just like how, they're like sneaky and smart and like trying to like go through very narrow tunnels and like just like climb through the wall or something like that. Yeah. I would say if you're living in like cities in China, you don't really interact with animals as much. Like I feel like in the Western world, there's a more outdoor culture, and so there's a higher chance of you to sort of like learn more about nature and the environment. But at least the way I grew up and the way my friends grew up around me, maybe it could just be us, I'm not sure, but there was less of an opportunity to sort of like go camping. At least that wasn't part of the culture. If we were interacting with nature, that sounds weird, but it was more about like man-made or like man-maintained beaches or lakes,
or like a zoo maybe,
or a zoo thing? Yeah. Okay. Is there a proper way to say she said or he said? Yes. So if you say "说" is like say or talk. That's pronounced 诗乌欧说
说
Yeah. And so you then can add 她说, which is she says.
她说
Yeah. And so with these, when you're in Chinese, when it comes to referring to another person, you don't specify the gender. So in Chinese, this word actually can mean a female or a male. But if you want to specify it's a female, then you would add the like female part.
Interesting. Okay.
Which is this. But you don't have to. So Malik, what do you mean by wouldn't it sound repetitive?
Oh, like saying
like they said? Or
because you're not saying it's you don't say you're not sorry. I'm trying to so I think like when you're speaking, if you were to say like she said can we go get dinner? You wouldn't use they at all. You would replace they with, it would still be ta, but instead it would have the female character before it, if I'm understanding you correctly. Like, what would it look like in a sentence? What are the two versions of like a sentence?
So you could say 他
because you're not saying you'd use ta twice.
他说 Are you asking like ta?
Like you wouldn't say like what are two sentences? One with ta as if it was she said, and one just with regular ta as like a they said.
It's the same, exactly the same.
Right. Well, can you show it in just two sentences?
What should we say? Like
She said, let's go to a movie. Is that long? That might be long.
Maybe he said the sky is blue.
Sure, sky is blue versus she said the sky is blue.
Yeah. So 他说天空很蓝 blue fairy sky he said
Ah, hello LA Coder 2019.
Ooh, how many characters are there in Chinese? Give us a second. And so
I feel like a lot.
in this case we have 他说 which is he say or she says, because in Chinese when you specify they you don't specify gender, so it both works. 天空 天空 which is sky, 很蓝 which is very blue. And at the same time you can also replace 他 with 她
I see. Okay.
which then means she.
I think when it was up here, it looked like you had to say ta, one after the other, but with the different context. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
LA Coder is asking how many characters are there in Chinese, and just so you all know, if you're watching it from YouTube or Facebook, we're streaming it to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now because we have a few friends watching it from different website, and in the future we might only focus on one, but right now we are helping
Streaming
all the friends.
everywhere.
Yeah. So in Chinese there are actually more than I think 10,000 characters.
10,000?
Yeah, let's
Wow.
actually search that.
No pressure.
The
How many do you know?
I have no idea. But I think the commonly used ones are about 3,000, 1,000, and then 3,000.
Okay.
So, how many characters are there in Chinese? Let's click on one and find out. The short answer is 7,000.
Whoa. 54,000 and 106,000? That's so scary.
I think there are also a lot of.
But is that between like all dialects, variations, local
Yes,
tones?
and also like ancient Chinese. Like,
Okay.
Those are only used in poems now. Nowadays,
I
nobody
see.
uses.
So there's like maybe
Or-
106 throughout like all ever written Chinese language.
Yeah.
It
So
looks like.
over here it says, if you understand like the most commonly used 2,500 characters, you can read 98% of everyday written language. If you can read 3,500 of them, you can read up to 99%, which is pretty much everything. And knowing 900 characters, you can actually read 90% of a newspaper.
Whoa. Just by 90.
Just 900, yeah.
That's a lot.
That's actually a lot. So I
But
feel like
that feels doable. I
That
guess I
feels-
don't know how that maps to like the English language, but that feels
Yeah.
like more approachable in many ways.
yeah. Does every character tell a story like kanji? Kanji is
Oh,
in
that's interesting.
Japanese. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I'm sorry to share that is the answer, but sometimes they do. So, for example,
Like love kind of does.
yeah, and so there's also, for
Rice.
example, traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese, and in some cases, the the strokes are simplified in Chinese, and so that maybe they would lose the meaning, but in traditional Chinese, and simplified Chinese, there are words that have meaning, but the meaning, not all of them have it. And so, for example, there are different ways to interpret it. There's this word home, which is 家,
Jia.
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 Again, if you're in an environment where you can speak out loud, feel free to pronounce it with us because that helps a lot. So this is
That'd be like.
G E
Oh, that's what I was
R
gonna just say. Yeah.
G E R
G-E-R.
G E R
G-E-R.
Jia.
Jia.
Yeah. So for example, with this one, with home, you can see that the top part kind of feels like a roof, right? That feels like a roof.
Mm.
And then the bottom part kind of mean like animals, living things.
Mm.
And so living things under a roof is a
home.
home. So in
That's
these
cool.
cases, like things feel very smooth and it's awesome.
Mm.
But not every single word have a meaning.
Mm.
Another great one that I really love is the word wood. So that's mu.
Mu.
And then when you have two wood,
Is
it's
that
a
forests?
it's a what are those called? Like what's smaller than a forest? It's like
A small forest?
there's a
There's a word for smaller than forest?
kind of like a jungle's kind of smaller, right? Like a small
A jungle
forest.
smaller than a forest? I don't know. I have no idea.
And then so that's when you have two wood together, that's lane.
Lin. I was really hoping it'd be moo.
And so
But
it's a like a little forest jungle. And when you have three wood together, that's forest. Sun.
Sun.
So in this case, it also feels very smooth, right? Like when you double the amount of wood, you get a bigger village forest, and then when you triple it, you have an even bigger forest.
Is wood used in like paper? Is there any
Wood
overlap?
isn't used in paper.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd be kind of impressed.
But I actually don't think when paper was invented, it was invented with wood.
That's true. It's probably
Yeah.
an animal
So
on the skin or something.
yeah.
That's cool.
Malik is saying the first character they learned was pijiu, which is a beer.
Pijo.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Pijiu.
Actually, the second character, Joe, kind of
Joe.
looks like a little beer cup.
Yeah, it does. In most cases, actually, like when there's three dots,
Hmm.
it means water-related item.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like liquid thing?
Yeah. So if you have, I might be writing it wrong, but oh yeah.
Waterfall.
That. So what is it again?
Pibu?
Pool. So that's waterfall.
Oh, LA Coder has a question. So there are no plurals like S's at the end of a word.
No, in
if there's more than
Chinese,
one.
in Chinese there's no plural. So in English, it's very common to see, for example, if it's cup. So this is a cup,
Hmm.
a water cup. That's one cup, and if you add S to it, that's multiple cups.
Hmm.
In Chinese, you don't add S, or words don't have plurals in
Would
it.
you just say 2 cups?
You would say you can indicate 2 cups, but you could just use cup as is.
Oh,
And so
kind of handy.
that's also why when writing poems in Chinese, sometimes they can be very poetic because you don't have to indicate quantity. You also don't have to indicate time. In English, you would have like, for example, jump or jumping. It means it's happening right now. Or jumped. It means it happened before. In Chinese, there's no past tense, present tense. And so you don't have to indicate the time if you don't want to. And that's also why poems can be extra poetic, because you could be lost in the stream of time.
That's pretty cool though. It's cool that it's more kind of left open.
Yeah.
Also, is a little easier to not worry about the adding those extra suffixes now. Whoa. Okay, so from our YouTube stream, let's see.
Malik saying white wine is translated bai jiu. And in this case, it's very
so
straightforward.
Again, that's like water, or it's the same thing where it has like water.
White wine. And jiu in this case actually mean alcohol and not wine specifically. But the word combined means white wine. Bai jiu. But then white wine should be, in Chinese, jiu kind of just mean alcohol, but then it's used in different type of alcohol. So beer and white wine both share the word jiu.
Hey, even cha has the little lines on it.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
So, and again, the same, like, if you want to drink white tea, cha. So you could borrow this word white over here, which is,
would it be bai cha?
Yep, bai cha.
Bai cha. Bai cha. That's cool. It's nice that there's the like simplicity of that's continuous, where you can just combine the letters and words and it's the same thing. That's cool.
Cool. Something I want to go through today that I think could be really helpful in everyday conversation is asking about your hobby. Like, what are you interested in? And so Malik said the first thing they learned was 啤酒, and it's because they could probably use that word, right? And it's something that they enjoy. So I feel like asking hobby could be a really good way to like start a conversation, and at the same time it's also just something fun that we could ask. A few words that I think we want to cover is, for example, me, you, because if we want to ask like what's your interest or what's your hobby, we need to use the word you and me. And so we're going to write this down here. So 我 is me, 我. And then you is 你.
Me.
Oh, I wrote it. Top.
Close. Switch.
You is 你. Cool. And like is 喜欢.
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 Like. So for example, you could say 我喜欢喝.
Drink?
Yes, drink.
So like in English that'd be referring to a drink or the act of drinking something. It'd be the same.
Yes. 茶. Tea.
Tea.
Could you try pronouncing
boy.
reading that sentence.
Okay, so that'd be whoa. The XI, I always like hesitate with the X and the I. Xi Huan
Mm-hmm.
He Cha.
Mm-hmm.
So wo Xi Huan He Cha.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Alright,
you got it perfectly.
cool.
And if you want to say I like to drink beer, it's 我喜欢喝啤酒. Don't worry if this is confusing or you're not remembering and if it feels like a lot of words. Just know that, like, for example, I've been teaching Will for quite a while now, and it takes time. And my hope is that I'm introducing these sound to you, and so over time these sound more and more familiar, and so you will just be able to, over time, at one point the sound and the meaning will just connect. It will just snap. So as long as you're like hearing them and then try to pronounce them as you can, then at one point they will just like snap. Your brain will do the job for you.
That makes sense. And then it'll sound familiar and yeah.
Yeah. So how do I say you like to drink tea?
你喜欢喝茶.
Yeah. What about you like to drink beer?
That would be 你喜欢喝啤酒.
啤酒.
啤酒.
Yeah.
啤酒.
Perfect. So in Chinese, you could ask, what's your hobby? That feels a little formal. You could also ask, like, what do you like to do? Which is pretty casual. And I want to teach the sentence, what do you like to do, first, because that's very common, and you could use the word like in a lot of other places as well.
Elliot Coder's asking if the flow of the sentence in English is the same where the noun comes before the verb. If in Chinese is the same as English, where the noun comes before the verb.
So in Chinese, it's slightly different, and sometimes it can get a little confusing. I can briefly explain the grammar a little bit, but my hope is that over time, you will just sort of like understand where words should fall in place in a sentence, and just like how if English is your native language or if another language is your native language, you don't necessarily know the grammar because it just became natural for you. And that's true to Chinese too. Sometimes it can get more confusing if you learn the grammar, but I'm going to talk about like the bigger structure for a little bit, which is there's subject, verb, object. Actually, I'm going to go back to the previous page.
Yeah, you kind of had that laid out.
Right here. Yeah. So over here we have subject, verb, object. Whoa.
Where's object going?
Object. That's the loose structure of how a sentence works. But there is also another way to explain this, which is the modifier come before the object. So if you want to describe something, the description comes before the object. So if you're saying, for example, like blue sky in Chinese, you could say like 蓝天, which is blue sky. But my hope is that with these sentences, it's in Chinese, as long as you're speaking the words, people will be able to understand it, even if the structure is wrong. So even if you flip it. So over here, we're talking about 喜欢, like, drink tea,
嗯
喜欢喝茶. And if you flip it and say 喝茶喜欢, it's the structure isn't correct, but people will still be able to understand you. And so
the meaning will still come through kind
Yeah.
of regardless of that part of the order.
yeah.
Mm.
And so over time you will just be able to like learn as everybody speak to you, or you speak to them, or you watch movies or watch shows or like listen to songs, and then they will just make more sense over and over again.
嗯
Okay, I like to drink tea, and the next thing is, what do you like to do?
drink tea.
Uh, 做什么? Which is do what?
嗯
做什么?
Shen, when you hear Shen Ma, do you need or do you still commonly use a question mark?
Yeah. In Chinese, there are like words that sort of like indicate this is a question, but if you use the question, the question mark still goes into the sentence. You don't have to use it if you're like chatting through messaging app, but then if you're like writing an essay, you should still include all of the question mark or the period or
Similar
the
to if you're
comma.
talking in English and you say what is
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still the same. Okay.
Exactly that. So if you want to ask what do you like to do, then it's 你喜欢做什么?
Yes.
你
One more time.
你喜欢做什么?
And there's an N, not Shema. Shenma.
什么? Yeah.
Shenma.
Yeah.
So Shenma.
你喜欢做什么?
Ni Shihuan Zo Shenma.
你喜欢做什么?
Ni Shihuan Zo Shenma.
And then you can say 我喜欢喝茶.
Yes. Always.
Cool. And let's go through a few other things that I like or you like, or if you in the comment if you want to leave like what you like to do, we'll also cover that in Chinese. I like to play basketball, which is 打篮球打篮球. In this case, 打 actually means hit.
Oh,
So
really?
you're like hitting basketball. When you're playing sports, a lot of the sports start with hit. And so like volleyball, it's like also hit volleyball. I guess it's because the action you take with the volleyball and the basketball has to do with hitting. With football, it says kick. So instead of playing football, you say kick football in Chinese. But
is it the same for sports like tennis, golf, racquetball, other things where you're hitting something with another object? Or is it only when you're contacting with your hand?
it's also through racket. Like so with tennis, it's also hit tennis. 打
But-
网球.
But swimming wouldn't have it because you're in water.
No. So swimming would be 游泳.
Yo-yo.
Yeah.
That's a fun one. Yo-yo.
Yo.
Oh, and again, we see the 3 dashes for water.
Yep. So in this case, both the 3 dashes on the left would indicates water. You can sort of think of it as the emoji,
The water droplet emoji.
the water emoji.
It'd be really funny, actually, if that's how that kind of formed. Like, if there's a relation to that.
Yeah. Not sure.
Especially since I think emojis took off in Asia so much more quickly than they did here.
游泳 so 我喜欢游泳我喜欢打篮球
Oh, comment.
Cool.
So Yao Yo. Okay.
游泳
Yao Yo. Sorry.
游
Yo Yo.
泳
Yo Yo.
游
And-
泳
Yo Yo. And the yong is again in that kind of back of the throat kind of.
yeah cool are there other things that you like to do
That's cool. How about rock climb?
rock climb
Is that like hitting rocks?
rock climb the 攀
Pan
攀岩
Panyan.
yeah I wasn't sure how to write the the first word
The pan
攀 yeah
pan yen. Pan, yen. So yen should go yen.
岩
And pan is just.
Panyan. And to LA Coder's earlier question about like does the same character do all the characters have meaning? In this case, you can see that the part over here is actually this, which is hand.
Oh.
And pan means climb, yan is rock, sort of. And so panyan is rock climbing, the sport. And you can see
That's
that hand is included in this word, which is climb. And climbing requires hand.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about things like what are probably other common things like going on a run or like yoga?
Yoga.
Or yoga feels or tai chi.
Yoga. Whoa. Yoga. 瑜伽
Yi jia.
瑜伽
Yi jia. It's
Yeah.
that
瑜
umlaut u
瑜
sound.
伽
Yu jia.
瑜伽
Yi
伽
jia.
Yep. 瑜伽 So you could say 我喜欢做瑜伽 In this case, you can see that like play basketball,
Mm-hmm.
Play, hit here is a verb,
Mm-hmm.
or swim. This is a verb too. This is a verb too. But then yoga is just like the yoga itself, and so you actually need to add a verb in front of it. So you need to say 做瑜伽我喜欢做瑜伽
Because is that just because it's like do you know I'm curious why do you know why that is?
What is
Sorry.
what?
Do you know why there's not a verb associated with yoga and you need to add one? Like, are there other examples of other?
Other sports?
Yeah.
I think it's the same here actually, like with basketball, right? Like if you're telling someone I'm going to go do yoga, you're also adding a verb in front of it. And basketball itself isn't a verb, but then you're adding like playing basketball in front of it. So
Gotcha.
that translates as well.
Cool.
I want to today cover like 2 movies that are actually made in America but have all Asian cast, or made by sort of like American Chinese directors and have all like Asian cast. And I feel like it could be a really interesting movie if you can find it, or if you can like pay for it to watch, because it gives you a sense of the culture from a slightly different point of view, which is it's shot by people who are Asian or Chinese, and then grew up in America or are familiar with the American culture. And one of them is called Crazy Rich Asian.
Yes. Which didn't actually do well in Asia.
I don't think it did well in China. Crazy Rich Asian is a movie about how this guy is Singaporean, and he's coming from a fairly rich background, and she's a professor in university in America, and it's sort of a movie about family and how if you're getting married, then you need to have like similar status or similar financial background and that type of thing, and how they're trying to break that. There's another movie that's called it's a good movie. I really liked it, but I didn't think it did well. I don't think it did well in China. I think it's just because as a like, I'm not sure why, but it's less interesting to watch it if you're Chinese and this movie is in English and it's about China, but it's also showing it's not showing the greatest side in some way. And not a lot of people can relate, since not a lot of people are that well off. The other movie, I think it's called Don't Tell Her.
Oh, with the grandma.
With the grandma.
Yeah.
No.
It's
别告
called
诉她.
Farewell, I think.
Farewell. Yes. In English, it's called Farewell. The Farewell. The Farewell. The Farewell. Yes. So this movie. Whoa. This
that movie
image is.
poster.
Yeah. So this movie is called The Farewell. She grew up in America, and so she's more in some way American than Chinese, but she speaks Chinese. And then one day her parents told her that her grandma's dying of cancer, and but her parents and the entire family is not informing her grandma about the cancer situation, and to her it's wrong. And in America it's actually illegal to not inform the patient of your disease.
I think the only caveat is if they're not in a fit state of mind.
Yeah. And so it's about how she, as someone who's sort of American Chinese, sort of like dealt with that situation and wanted to go back to meet her grandma, but was not really allowed to say anything about it. And it's actually a movie that's really well received both in America and also in China. And it's a movie that also gives you a glimpse into the culture of how family between generation take care of each other. We have a question from Malik, and we're going to go through that. And also, hello Gemma, welcome to the stream. So Malik has a question about banana. Banana. I feel like every time I think about banana, I think about the Minions.
Yes, from like the Despicable Me Minions.
香蕉. 香蕉. And then another word is like miss. Xiao Jie. Could you try pronouncing banana? 香蕉.
香蕉
Yeah. And
香蕉
小姐.
小姐
Yeah.
小姐
And so Malik's question is that they know these are proper words in Chinese, but are they insults in some way in Chinese culture? I would say in Chinese culture, banana is definitely not an insult. And 小姐, it depends on the context. In most cases, it's definitely not an insult. It's like if you're like checking into a hotel, then you would, and you're at the reception, you're a female, and the receptionist would say Miss 小姐. But then there's also a different second meaning in this word, which is if you're like a stripper, then that's
like
also
mistress kind of thing.
Yes, that's also used, like people would try to use this word to describe that in a more subtle way.
It sounds similar to earlier when you were talking about like rat and mouse, and how could technically be used to describe a person, but it's not.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be assumed that that's like the first way you were using it.
Yeah. So it definitely heavily depends on the context. If you're checking into a hotel, people call you like 小姐, please go this way. Then, or like your room is this, or there will be breakfast at 8 a.m. or something, then there's definitely no second meaning behind it. But if you know you're talking about it within the context of like clubbing or, you know, going to strip club or anything like that, then there's definitely that meaning in it as well.
Makes sense. It's kind of implied in that way.
Cool. I want to go back to the movie. This movie is called Don't Tell Her in Chinese. And what was really funny was that the director of the movie actually went through this entire situation herself. So it's a movie about herself and her grandma. And her grandma is actually still alive today, 4 years later, still don't know about the cancer situation. And the movie now is out. It's popular. It's like very popular. And in English, the movie is called Farewell. But in Chinese, the movie is actually literally called Don't Tell Her. And it's about, it like actually went into theater in China. And so her grandma would definitely know about it. And so there was this question about like, well, is her grandma gonna take it seriously?
Aren't you telling her, or
Yeah.
is she gonna think it's fake, or?
But I want to go through just for like as perhaps the one last word today. Don't tell her, or don't tell them. Bie gao su ta.
别告诉他
Bea 别告诉他别告诉他 Yeah. 别告诉他 Don't tell them. And so if you are in China right now, or if you like come across the movie poster in Chinese, you will see this.
That's fun.
But because the movie is specifically about the grandma, so it's about don't tell the grandma, don't tell her. The word ta is actually this one, which has the female radical on the left here. 别告诉他
别告诉他。
Malik saying that their friends would say use banana as a word to describe how Chinese living overseas, they're sort of yellow skin on the outside, but when you peel it over, it's white in the sense that they're like more Westerner,
more Westerner
than Chinese.
That's interesting.
That is a meaning, a definition that I've heard before, and people do sort of use that to describe the Asians living abroad in general.
So it also sounds like that's another. It's like very context specific.
Yeah.
Like you probably know the people and how they're referring to it. And,
yeah. I think it depends on the context. Sometimes it's an insult. Sometimes it's just describing like. It's like ABC means American born Chinese. So in some way, like using the word banana is sort of a more slang, casual way to say ABC or some like Western born Chinese in general. Cool. I think we've been streaming for about an hour-ish. We're going to stay on for a few more minutes. Maybe we'll go through a few more songs. Meanwhile, if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to let us know. And we're also here to sort of help you. We're here to improve the session, each session. And so, yeah, definitely let us know. And if it's helpful for you, do tell one of your friends if you know they're also learning Chinese, because we're hoping to help more people. Cool. I want to go through a few more songs that I've been listening to. There's one song.
You're live. Did you know that?
Pan Weibo.
Oh,
I just
super
selected the
purple.
whole website. Pan Weibo. His name is Wilbur Pan. This is him. He's been active since I was a kid. This is him. And he has a lot of like cool songs. Some of the more popular songs from him are rap songs, and he was like one of the first singers actually to introduce rapping to the Chinese music culture. So this song here, it's super old, from 13 years ago. I grew up with this song and I loved it. This song was like one of the rap song, like the rap song, and it was when nobody really knew what rapping is, and we're just like, are you speaking gibberish? What's going on? And this was the song. There's also this song called 不得不爱, which is like can't help, can't love, which is like I can't help but love. I have to love. This one is a much slower song, and I would recommend it if you are trying to find a song to listen to that is slow. And
could be good to start recognizing sounds and stuff like that too.
Yes.
Cool.
Let's see if I can play it. I'm going to make sure that my
YouTube, I think, is going to.
Yeah, maybe I'll need to figure out, because I think if I turn on sound, I will hear myself, which won't be helpful for you. But this is a super cool song. Definitely listen to it if you like it. This song here, it's in traditional Chinese over here, but it's about sort of like respecting, idolizing happiness. And it's just a cool song. It talks about how in 10 years time rapping will be a thing, and it's actually a thing in sort of like Chinese culture.
True. Yeah,
that
happened.
So it's pretty awesome. Cool. MC Jin, Malik saying I thought MC Jin was the first Chinese rapper. I could be wrong. Let me find.
It says Asian American solo rapper.
He's signed into a major record label in America. Yeah, in this case, Wilbur Pan sort of like introduced rapping to Chinese music culture. I think MC Jin
And
probably
remained in China kind of thing?
and remained in China. So
Gotcha.
he actually like created songs that are in Chinese, but it's a Chinese rap song. And I'm not completely sure, but it looks like if MC Jin is signed to an American label, then I'm assuming he's producing rap songs in English. So yeah, I think that's the difference. I could be wrong though, but yeah.
That's cool though. It's neat to see that stuff influence and go between different cultures.
Yep. I'm just checking to see if
Making sure there's no other comments lingering
yeah.
on all the platforms. For those interested in streaming, managing comments between all the platforms is
It's pretty hard.
its own. Could be one person's full-time job quite easily.
Cool.
Oh, cool, but lives in America too. Right on.
Awesome. Maybe we can stay on for one more minute
Yeah.
and
Stay on for another minute. People have questions, comments, thoughts.
yeah.
Otherwise, thank you. We will be on again soon, and if you're into it, share it with other people. Subscribe to Weiwei's channel. Follow her on Twitch. All of the things. And yeah.
Yeah. Please do suggest any type of content or any type of like topic you would like to see me focusing on, and I'll do that. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna get ready and go to bed in a bit because it's getting late.
What is getting late? Okay. Well,
Cool.
cool. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Malik, too.
Yeah. Thanks for your questions.
Yeah. See you.